West Ham transfers really are like buses, aren't they? You know, we're waiting all this time, all these weeks, waiting for this club to pull their finger out and start getting some business done. And here we are, 3 players at once. And to be honest with you, the last few days, as us West Ham fans, my word, it's been hard to keep up, hasn't it? It's just been relentless, the news. I mean, it's been a really stressful summer because we've obviously lost Declan and we've had just so much talk going on in the club. We've got coaches leaving and so much news of West Ham. It's very, very difficult actually to keep up with it. And it's almost like I'm actually quite looking forward to the season starting, to things calm down a little bit, just get things settled down, because it's been a really, quite a stressful summer, actually. I found it. Usually I look forward to it. You get a bit excited, don't you, over the summer, who we're bringing in, you get a bit. But this summer I found it very, very testing, really. It's been quite stressful. But we've got some good news, and of course we've got some bad news as well that's going on at the moment. So I wanted to do another, rather than do separate videos for bits and pieces. I say there's just so much, we'd rather just put it into one. So we're going to do a transfer update. First of all, look, let's start on the good news. Let's just stick with the positive stuff at the moment, because there is some very, very good news. Of course, Edson Alvarez now is a West Ham player. Excellent. Absolutely brilliant piece of news for us. I mean, do you know what? I'm really, really pleased with the signing. I think it's a real shrewd move from West Ham. I think we've got him for a very good price, considering the fact last summer he was being touted for about 50 million. So to get him at 32, it is 32 million plus £3 million in add-ons. So it's 35, let's call it, 35 million package. It's a decent deal for West Ham. We've done really well. 5-year contract with an option of an additional year as well. So effectively a 6-year deal. I mean, that's pretty much all his career, isn't it? At West Ham now. So we've tied him down to a long-term contract. And I'm just really, really thrilled with this. I mean, I know that we've needed this. I think the club have desperately needed to get this done, because at the end of the day, this is the Declan Rice replacement. This is the hole we've needed to fill, and we've managed to get a very good player in. So, I mean, we've beaten off competition there from Chelsea, beaten off from Borussia Dortmund. I mean, as I've said in the previous, that is an inkling of how good this player really is and how highly rated he is. So, I'm really thrilled. I'm really pleased today. I feel like it's a bit of it's like a thrilled and also a bit of relief. You think, right, we've got our player in now that's going to be in our midfield next season. We know how who's going to be, taking on that position at the heart of our midfield in terms of a defensive midfielder. So I'm thrilled, really happy. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I'm sure everyone will pretty much share my feelings on it. I mean, it's what I like about the player is not only is he very gifted, good on the ball, and he gets stuck in. I like the fact he's got a bit of bite to him. I do feel that West Ham really lack that. I think that at times last season I was very frustrated with it. I've talked about it quite a fair bit in terms of I just felt we get bullied too easy with certain teams. And now the fact we've got a player in there, you think he's going to get stuck in. He's known to get a few yellow cards. I think he's going to be picking up a few this season. So I think that's something we need to be a little bit wary of. But I like that in a way. I like someone getting stuck in, and we like that. It's been a while since we've had a player. I mean, you've got Soufal, to be fair. He's got a bit of bite to him. But I just think in that heart of that midfield, I want to see someone who's going to be bullying other teams. And so that's good. I'm really pleased. I've got to say as well, special mention to XWHU employee, because he reported this back in May. We were the first, West Ham were the first to come out with the news that Alvarez, West Ham, were very interested in him. And his coverage of it's been fantastic. And do you know what? He's been getting some good plaudits. He got it from Fabrizio Romano. He's had it now from Sky Sports, or even, from Darmesh, who's credited him as well for the coverage of this transfer. So I'm really pleased for him on a personal level. I think he deserves this, because it's tough. Doing what he does is not easy, and it's nice to see him get a bit of a pat on the back. And he's covered this really well. So Alvarez, West Ham player, excellent. But of course, it's never quite right. West Ham. We've already the news has started to drip in a little bit about him. He might not be fit though. That's the thing. He might not be match ready, because apparently what's coming out now that he's not had much of a pre-season, so he might not be ready for the Bournemouth game. Might need a bit of time to set. Buy him earlier then. What have we been waiting for? Do you know what I mean? When does this club ever learn? Why buy him with a few days before the season starts, when we could have, let's be honest, we could have got this done a month ago. There's no reason why. I've said what my theory is. I'm pretty sure I'm right in thinking that I think West Ham hold off because they don't want to pay the wages. I really do. I genuinely believe that's how sometimes our thinking. Let's wait until the last minute, because then we haven't got to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on wages. It just drives me mad. It really does, because this player could have been fit now, done the pre-season, had some games with the players, and no. But look, I'm moaning, but you know what I'm saying. We heard this last year, didn't we? I think we had it with Scamacca, Paqueta. We had so many players that join the club, and then it's, they're not quite ready yet. They're not quite ready. You think, get them in earlier then. But let's stick to the positive side. Well, I'm doing a match preview on the Bournemouth game, and I really do hope Alvarez will be involved. I get a feeling he will be. I think he has to be, really, to be honest. It'd be interesting what sort of capacity. But yeah, really pleased about that. Edson Alvarez, a West Ham player. Excellent news. So we've got a few other bits to talk about. I want to try and stick to the positives, though. All right, I just want to stick to the positives to start with. So James Ward-Prowse, as I recall this he's going to be a medical tomorrow for the club. It doesn't look like he's going to be registered in time to play against Bournemouth, which is a bit of a shame. I think he has to be a West Ham player and registered by noon tomorrow. I've been told that's what X has reported. So yeah, we're running up against it, aren't we? Considering the fact he hasn't even done the medical yet, which is a bit of a shame because you do think, well, if we just done this a little bit earlier, if we'd been a bit quicker, we could have got him in. But again, I don't want to be negative about it. It's a good signing. I'm actually really pleased about the Ward-Prowse signing. Reason being because I think we lack leaders. It's been quite evident, isn't it, that we lack leaders because there's no standout captain. There's no one really you look at in that squad and go, they are definitely the next captain. When Noble left, it was obviously going to be Rice. That was an obvious candidate. This time round, now we've lost Declan, you kind of look at it thinking, I genuinely am struggling to find the natural successor to Declan Rice in terms of the captaincy. So I'm not saying James Ward-Prowse will be the captain. In fact, we know he's not going to be, by the looks of it. We'll come to that in a minute. But it's a leader, though, isn't it? He's been a captain, so you want that bit of a cool head, someone that's going to be able to rally the players, and I just think it's a great sign. And also, I love his free kicks. Who doesn't? And the set pieces. I mean, I think it's going to be a real big. I think it's going to be a game changer for West Ham. I really do. I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad. So I'm really, really happy about James Ward-Prowse. And so what happened was we went in with a bid, didn't we? I think it was £20 million. The original bid was 17 plus 3. Yeah, so let's just call it £20 million package that we offered Southampton. They rejected it outright straight away. I think they were quite insulted by it. West Ham then went back in with £30 million package. Now, West Ham, that was then rejected. West Ham then did the whole, right, we're walking away, then we're not doing it anymore. And then they've come back to the table and they've accepted the bid. But what we've done is we've adjusted the terms of the payment. So apparently we're paying £15 million up front. That's a lot of money, isn't it, in one lump? So we're paying that straight into their bank, £15 million, and then the next 15 goes in 12 months' time. So they've done quite well out of that. And we're obviously in a cash-rich position because of the Declan sales. So we've been able to do that. So well pleased. I think it's a good deal for all parties. It was obviously he wasn't going to be staying at Southampton. They've got a decent bit of money there. £30 million for a player that's, what's he, 28, and they're relegated as well. So I think they've done well out of that. And obviously, and what I really like as well, like with Alvarez, really wants to come to the club. He's had a heart set on West Ham for a long time. So I like that as well. I want players that want to be here. We'll come to players that don't want to be here in a minute, which is a real shame. 4-year contract, I believe. I believe that's the case. I'm not 100% on that, but I think it's £100,000 a week. So he's getting the same wages he was getting at Southampton. Look, it's great news. Let's be honest. We are lacking in our midfield. If that Bayer Leverkusen game was anything to go by, is that our midfield is weak, very weak, and we can't have a season with Souček and Downs. It's just no way. So I like the fact now we've got Alvarez, Ward-Prowse. I think that's a real level up. I'm well happy. So yeah, good news all round. And then on to the next. This is an interesting one. This is really interesting. The Harry Maguire situation. Now, I've got my views on this, and I've had time to sleep on it and think about it. There's sort of a few angles where you can look at it. I think that on paper, right, straight away, you go, he'll do a good job for West Ham. And I do believe that. I think he will do a good job for West Ham. He's a good player. I know he's had a lot of criticisms. He has, but I do feel that those clubs like Manchester United, sometimes the pressure's so great, isn't it? They're such a huge club, and I don't think he's done a bad job there. I really don't. I don't think he's done a bad job. I think the captaincy's been hard for him. I think what happened to him in his personal life, when he was in Greece, wasn't it, and all that didn't help him in terms of his confidence levels and all these things. He looks a player to me that needs a change. He needs to go back to play for a team that he's better suited. Let's make no mistake. He's a very good defender. You don't play for Manchester United. You don't get Man United signing you for 80 million quid. You don't play for England, in every World Cup and every Euros and a regular player and be a poor defender. Let's get that straight. And I think sometimes fans are forgetting that how good this player actually is. I get it because he's a little bit of a parody, isn't he, at times, Maguire? And I think so. on the face of that, right, I actually think great signing. Good for West Ham. Good sign. I think he'll do a good job for David Moyes. I think he suits that. And I just generally think he's what we need. And again, like with Ward-Prowse, it's a leader, an experienced captain. And not only a captain of Manchester United, a team that are under immense pressure to win every match. I mean, that's the difference between the clubs. West Ham obviously want to be that in that realm, but we're not. Let's be realistic. We don't go into every fixture going, we've got to win. We must win because we're chasing titles. We're not like that, and the fact he's been captain that side for quite some time, I think will be great for West Ham because he will come and bring that winning mentality. It's what I want. I want someone to come in and go, no, we want to win every week. I mean, obviously we want to win every week, but really drill it into the players. We can't accept any slacking. And I actually do think it's a good signing overall in terms of that. However, there is a negative to it for me. The negative is that David Moyes is leaving the club at some stage soon, isn't he? Let's get that straight. Let's just assume that he's going to stay this whole season. I'm not overly convinced on that, personally. I think he's under massive pressure. I think it's been reported in the Telegraph. He's under massive pressure. The club are obviously backing him because they're buying the players that he wants. So that's giving him something to go on there. But I'm not convinced he'll be given another contract to West Ham. I don't think that's going to happen. Unless, of course, we have a brilliant season. But let's go on the basis that this is his last season. What worries me now is that do we want to be spending this amount of money, £30 million, bear in mind, is a lot of money, isn't it, on a defender who's, coming to the end of his career. Let's be honest, he's not 23, not 24. He's near the end of his career. He's coming towards the end. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still think he's got a few years in him, but all I'm saying is he's not young. And he's on a hefty wage. I think they're going to be... I don't know what the wages are yet. This is where the stumbling block is, because I believe he's on about 200 grand a week at Manchester United, something like that. And I think they're working out an agreement where Manchester United are going to pay him off. They're going to give him a few million quid. West Ham, I think, are going to do the same. I think they're going to give him a signing on fee, and then they're going to reduce his wages. So let's just say he's going to be on 120 grand a week. I assume it's going to be something like that. Well, that's a lot of money. And if you're going to get him on, say, a 3 or 4 year deal, which you'd expect him to be, that's a big outlay. And then I'm worried that we're going to then get a new manager in, and then we're stuck with a defender that's taking up a big chunk of money. That's my only gripe with this. And I'm struggling with it. That's the only thing. And when I then think about that, I just think, wouldn't we have been better to go for a younger defender? That's my only concern. But I'm not taking anything away from Harry Maguire because I do think he'll be a good addition to the squad. I really do. Like I've said, I think he's a good leader. He's experienced. He's been in the Premier League for long enough. I just think he's a good sign in that regard. But yeah, as I say, there is that part of me. It's like a little bit anxious where I think, oh God, this is a big commitment. That's my only concern. But also, another player, though, apparently, and this has been coming out, the player really wants to move now. So there was talk originally that he was unsure. But I think that, coupled with the fact that Manchester United have basically said to him, look, you can stay here, but you're down the pecking order a little bit here now. So if you want to be going to play for England at the Euros next summer, you need to be playing football. And I think that's pennies dropped. One thing that's interesting, which I was quite not pleased to read, is that, and this is apparently credible. We will find out from X a little bit more about this, but apparently Declan Rice was quite instrumental in this move. Apparently he was talking quite closely to Harry Maguire and highly recommending him going to West Ham. So I don't know exactly how true that is. It might be a load of rubbish, but it appears it's got something in it. So that's good to hear. And as I say, I love hearing players that want to come to West Ham. It really does. I really love it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what you want to hear. And he's excited about the project, and we've got European football coming up. So there's a lot of things to be excited about. So yeah, Harry Maguire coming in. The interesting thing as well is the captaincy. So apparently Harry Maguire will be West Ham's captain when he comes into the club. From what I understand, this is going to happen. Maguire will happen. I think this is a pretty much a done deal now. So I think they're just tying up a few bits regarding, like we were saying, the payments and working out the wage structure and all that kind of stuff. So, but it looks like Maguire will be a West Ham player. Again, this is not going to be done until they believe the weekend. So that means obviously he will not be available for Bournemouth. Again, another thing we could have done a bit sooner. But overall, I'm going to say I'm pleased about the signing. I really don't want to write off players. I don't like doing that. We've done this before. It wasn't long ago we did this with Craig Dawson. You know, we signed Dawson. What are we doing? I think I was verbally one of them and said, well, what we signed him for? You know, I'm not sure about this. And look how good he was for us. So I don't want to turn my nose up at Maguire at all. As I say, I've just got a little bit of concern with just the commitment, and then you think about the Moyes' future. That's the only thing. But yeah, so the good news then, we've got Alvarez is in. Ward-Prowse is going to be signed looks like by tomorrow. Friday, I think it will be confirmed, hopefully. And then you've got Harry Maguire coming in the weekend. So at last, you know, some business is being done by West Ham and we're strengthening the squad. Great. Obviously, now onto the negative. The really, really big negative is Manchester City are now in for Lucas Paqueta. This is a blow. This is a real significant blow as well for West Ham. This is not what we need. We do not need this at the moment. So it appears that they haven't actually officially bid yet, by the way. They've inquired. So all this talk of a £70 million official bid, I don't think is correct. But they are talking and they do want the player. So what we understand at the moment is that, yeah, City want the player and the player wants to go. West Ham have got a release clause in his contract, which gets activated next summer, which is £85 million. It's a really tricky scenario, isn't it? Because I've got to be honest, I'm really gutted. We could do without this. I've got to be honest, I'm getting a bit annoyed with Manchester City over this. I'll be honest, I don't like the timing of it. I mean, we're literally about to kick our first ball of the season, and here we are, and we're about to lose our best player by the looks of it. I've got a feeling he's going to go. I really do. I've got this worrying feeling that I don't think West Ham are going to be able to deal with it because the player wants to move, apparently. He's keen on the move. I'll disclose something now, actually. When started the summer, right at the beginning of the summer, I speak to X every day, obviously for news and bits and pieces and, whatnot. And he told me this at the beginning of the summer. He told me about Paqueta being unhappy at West Ham and possibly looking to move on. But that was just, talk, and that's what he was hearing. So I kind of dismissed it really in my mind. I didn't want to think about it. I thought, but X did make it very clear the club have got no interest in selling him because we're about to sell Declan Rice. There's no way the club are going to want to lose another key player. The problem is once a player wants to go, what do you do? My theory's always been, and I always stand by it, if a player doesn't want to be at West Ham, I want him out. I don't care who it is. It could be Lionel Messi. If they turn around and say, I don't want to be here anymore, get rid of them because you don't want a toxic environment. That being said, if I was West Ham, this is what I would do. This is how I would play it. I would say to Paqueta, right, we're going to go two ways here. We give you a gentleman's agreement, like we did with Declan. You stay for one more season, and then next summer we will sell you to Manchester City for £85 million. That's the deal. That we accept that. If, however, that is not possible, and Man City don't want to go for that, and Paqueta don't want to go for that, if they say no, we want him now, we'll pay, we want to get the deal done, and Paqueta wants to go, okay, then I'd say we want 100 million. Then that is how I would play it. That would be that's the deal. That's the two options, and I think if West Ham can get either of those options agreed, I think they're good deals. I think if we can keep Paqueta for another season, brilliant. Because let's be honest, I think he's going to be outstanding this season for West Ham. I've been so excited to see him back, so I'm not impressed with this news. But as I say, if we are unable to keep him, if it is the case that he has to go, he is going to go now, and we have to, he's going to kick up a stink, whatever. Then get 100 million for him. Because let's be honest, as a commercial standpoint, you stand back, that is incredible business. To buy a player for 50 million and 12 months later sell him for 100, that's quite remarkable. So. And let's be honest, if we get 100 million for I'm only just throwing that number out. It might not be that, but let's just say we get 100 million for him. That's a lot of money, isn't it, to spend? You could go and invest and buy another £50 million midfielder, and then you've got another 50 you go and splash out elsewhere. So it's not bad business, really, for West Ham. It's just painful. We don't want this. This is not what we need, not right before the start of the season. So it's a real big blow. Yeah, I'm not overly thrilled with the timing. I'm going to be honest with Man City. I don't know why they've waited this long. The Gundogan's been, the Gundogan replacement. They've known about the need to replace him for a long time. Don't forget they were talking about Declan Rice being that replacement. So the fact they've waited literally days before the season's about to start and then go, right, we're going to put a bid in for your best player. It is a bit of a kick in the teeth. Considering the fact as well, the Borges situation, selling to Ajax when we had a deal agreed. Considering the fact they came in for Rice, and I'll be honest, I really wanted them to push it and go for Rice and get him, but they didn't really, which is a bit annoying. But it did drive the price up, I suppose. But yeah, I am annoyed with it. Look, if Paqueta is going to leave, My gut says he probably will. That's my gut feeling on this. Unless West Ham take a very strong stance, which we have done before. We've done it with Declan. So West Ham could easily turn around and go, no, we're not interested. It'll be next year. I'll be more than happy with that. Then if we are to sell him, though, if we are to sell Paqueta, then my word, they've got to get this replacement right.